Hey, it's Sri here, and in today's video I'm going to talk you through 4 important mindset shifts or questions that you need to ask yourself if you're on the verge of a separation or divorce. Now just quickly before we dive in, I just want to let you know that I'm opening up a few spots for my Authentic Relationship System program, which is all about helping women to be able to not only save their marriage or their relationship, but to really help them to become the very best version of themselves and help them to eradicate fear and eliminate self-doubt and really be able to awaken your goddess within so you can really embrace your feminine spirit in a relationship. Because here's the thing, a relationship is always a reflection of our own internal challenges. And so if we're going through challenges internally, then the relationship is always going to be a reflection of that. So make sure you stick around to the very end so you can get more details about this announcement. And just make sure you click the subscribe button below so that every Sundays and Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to get access to my latest videos, specifically teaching you more about how you can improve the quality of your marriage and how you can really become the very best version of yourself so that you can heal yourself during these really difficult times in your marriage. You know, going through a separation of any sort in a relationship or marriage is one of the hardest experiences. And if this is what you're going through right now, obviously my heart goes out to you. But what happens is we lose all sense of clarity in these situations because we're high on emotion. We're not sure what to do. We don't know if we should beg and plead, or we're not sure if we need to just take a step back and give him more space and let him get to a place of clarity. And I understand, I know how difficult it is. And that's why I shot this video, because I wanted to make sure that you utilize the right mindset and the right approach so that you can maximize your chances of not only saving your marriage, but ultimately making the best decision for your future and for the future of your family as well. And so what I'm going to talk you through now are 4 questions that you want to make sure you go through so that when you're going through this process, that you're able to have the clarity that you need in order to move forward and take the necessary action. Now, the first question is, what part did I play in getting the marriage to its current state? Now, this might be a bit of a confronting question, and really this question is directed more towards people who are with good men, okay? Yes, there are some examples of people who are with narcissists and serial cheaters and sociopaths and so forth, and I think in those situations, we need to handle things a little bit differently. But on the assumption that your husband's a good man, then we have to ask ourselves, what part did we play? You see, when I was 17, I remember I was working for a computer company and my boss was a really good friend of mine, a good family friend. And, you know, I was supposed to send out these reports and that was supposed to be my daily task. And there had been a couple of days where I hadn't done it. And, you know, this was a really important task. And then I was supposed to send it on one particular evening. I thought I didn't, and then the next day my boss came to me and said, hey, listen, did you send it? And I was like, not sure. Yeah, I sent it, I'm pretty sure I did, I'm pretty sure. He's like, can you show me your emails? So we had a look, and I couldn't see it. I swear in my mind I had done it. And then he's like, look, can you come to the office? And so he had a chat with me, and he basically just, you know, told me that I really need to step up my game. And, you know, I end up coming up with all these excuses just over and over and over and over. And he actually just said to me, mate, just shut up. Look, I'd rather you sit there and just say to me, listen, I put my hand up, I made a mistake, won't happen again, rather than constantly coming up with all these excuses. And that particular lesson was one of the best lessons that I've ever had in my life because it taught me the importance of taking responsibility. See, we live in a world right now where no one wants to take responsibility for anything. You know, someone does something to us and it's always their fault. It's never what decisions did we make that allowed us to get to that point. Why did we interact with that person in the first place, etc., etc. There's always things that we need to do. And the reason we want to take responsibility is because internally within ourselves is something that we control. Sometimes we can't control the other person. At best, we can probably influence, but we can't control them. And so that's why the thing that we can control is what goes on inside of us. So if we can shift that and we can start to make better decisions for our future, to me that's just the best outcome that you possibly can have here. And like I say, I know it's really hard, I know it's easier said than done, and I'm not trying to play it down in any way. But it's really important that you do take this idea of taking responsibility and also what part did I play in getting the marriage to its current state. In other words, was I spending more time with my kids than I was with my husband? Did I fail to actually speak my truth in certain situations? Did we sweep things under the rug for a long time and not raise the main issues in our relationship? And the more you really understand that and you recognize that, then you can take ownership of it, but not blame yourself. Because we're not stepping into blame, we're stepping into responsibility. And just having that open and honest conversation with your husband about some of that can be really, really liberating, not just for you, but also for them. Because when two parties are having challenges in a relationship, what happens is one person's trying to prove that they're right, the other person's trying to prove that they're right. And I've always found in my life that when I can put my hand up and say, listen, I'm really sorry, I messed this up, it's always got me a better outcome than if I sat there trying to defend myself all the time. Defensiveness just doesn't work. So the more you can actually put your hand up, take ownership, take responsibility, then you're naturally going to give yourself the best chance of being able to move forward. Now, the second question that you want to ask yourself is he a good man? Now, once again, this might be a really difficult question because you may have been with him for 20 plus years. And so when you've been with someone for 20 plus years and then to sort of question, whether they're good people or, he's a man of high morals and high integrity and so forth, it'd be a really difficult question to ask. So I'm not trying to downplay its importance at all or its difficulty in any way, but it's an important question to ask. And let me give you an example. I was working with a client a while ago and, her husband used to hold a gun to her head from time to time. Now, in this particular instance, that's an extreme situation. But my point is that at the time, she was wanting to save this marriage. She was wanting to make it work. Now, in my world, any person that holds a gun to their head or is being physically violent in any way cannot be given the benefit of the doubt in that situation. That is extreme, yes, but it's unacceptable. But even if we're talking about someone who consistently belittles you, consistently brings you down in order to prop themselves up, is always trying to get the power in a situation 24/7 without making any effort to actually empathize with your situation or understand your world, you have to question whether this person is actually someone who's a decent man. Because my belief is that we live with enough mediocrity in life. A relationship or marriage should not be anything like that either. It needs to be of the highest standards. You want a man of the highest caliber. Now, we can go a little bit deeper here and recognize that a lot of the time in terms of our psychology, and I know that this was the case for me, I had such a low sense of self-worth that I felt I was only deserving of a certain kind of woman. And it wasn't until I did some deeper work inside of me that I actually started to, create the shifts that I needed and be able to attract the greatest gift in my life, which is my wife, who for me is the absolute best. She's an absolute godsend for me. And that all came about because of the shifts that I did in myself. And I teach my clients all of this in my Authentic Relationship System program, which you'll absolutely love. So as I said before, just make sure you stick around to the end and I'll give you an announcement about how you can speak to me regarding this. Now just quickly, just in the comment section below, I just want you to write down the answer to this question. What's the single biggest challenge that you're facing as you're going through this separation or divorce with your husband or partner? Now, the third question that you want to ask yourself is, am I wanting to make the marriage work because I genuinely love him? Or am I wanting to make this marriage work because I'm afraid to be alone? Now, once again, this might be quite a confronting question, but one that you really want to ask yourself and be brutally honest with yourself. A lot of us just don't want to be alone. And that's understandable. We are social creatures. We don't want to be on our own. It can be a challenging thing for people. But to be in a relationship, you've got to genuinely love and connect with the other person at a deeper level to create something that's extraordinary. And also, we've got to be in a position where we're genuinely wanting the other person to be happy as well. And a lot of the time we're just not wanting to lose that thing that we've held on to for so long. It can be so scary. Change in any world is really scary. In fact, often I find that people don't even want to work on the marriage because they're afraid of the change that it could bring about. Even though it's currently painful as it is, they would rather deal with the current pain because it's certain and it's known, rather than actually having to deal with the change that could come about as a result. And that's why people often do nothing about their situation. So it's really important to ask yourself that particular question. Do I want to be in a marriage because I genuinely love my man, or do I want to be in it only because I'm afraid of being alone? And if it is the latter, you want to make sure that you're doing the deep dive within yourself, because in my opinion, it's often better to actually separate and be on your own for a period of time so you can do the inner work that you need to do, as opposed to staying in a marriage that may be toxic for you and your family as well. So you really want to make sure you ask that question, because it is very, very important about your own mental health in the future as well, let alone for your partner and your family as well. And the fourth question that you want to ask yourself is, how can I use this experience to better myself and grow within me? Now, as I said before, a relationship is often a reflection of our own internal challenges. And I truly believe that in order to change our physical reality in terms of our experience, we have to shift inside of ourselves. How much anger are we holding on to? How much resentment are we holding on to? How much fear do we have inside of ourselves? Do we have a belief that we're not good enough as we are? And if you're holding on to these behaviors, your physical reality is going to be a reflection of that. But here's the good news, that can all be shifted. And trust me on this. I know that if I can do it, anyone can do it, because boy, I used to struggle so much internally within myself. And it wasn't until I started to do the deep dive within me and really recognize where my limitations were, where I developed a lot of these mindsets and so forth as I was younger, and then how I could actually go about creating those shifts. My whole life changed. It changed my career, it changed my love life, it changed my physical health, everything. Everything shifted as a result of me shifting within me. So very, very important to ask yourself, how can I actually grow? And what you can do is you can actually just spend some time, get yourself a notepad and ask yourself, what are the areas that I've been struggling with over the last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, or the majority of my life? Have I noticed that I've lacked confidence in virtually every area that I've got into? Have I struggled with people who are, assertive towards me? Am I always trying to people please? Do I always find myself, holding back on my own opinions because I'm always afraid of what other people might think? And so on. There's many levels to this and there's many depths to it all. And so very, very important that you ask that question. Now, I appreciate that sometimes this can be a little bit challenging. It can almost be like a bit of a puzzle when you're trying to put all these little pieces together, but when you haven't done it before and you're in a highly emotional state, it can feel really, really tough. So this is the very reason why I do what I do and why I've produced the Authentic Relationship System program, where I help my clients to not only work on their marriage and improve it and get the best out of it, but also to help them individually to grow. Because as you grow, your external reality will also shift. So in order to see if you're a good fit for this particular program, what I'm doing is I'm opening up a few spots to speak to me individually, just to understand where are you now in your situation in terms of your marriage and within yourself. Where do you want to get to, and how can we bridge that gap in the quickest possible time for you? It's an amazing program. You'll absolutely love it. And you'll find a level of world-class support that you will not find anywhere else. And that's my promise to you. So all you need to do is just below in the description section, you'll see a link to book in a time with me. There's no obligation whatsoever. It's just to really understand if you're a good fit for the program. Now, what am I looking for? Essentially, it really boils down to having people on board who are just truly committed to wanting to grow themselves, but also wanting to grow their marriage as well. You know, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes. You've got to be willing to put in the work. And I'm not talking about hundreds of hours, but even a few hours a week will make all the difference in the long run. So like I said, all you need to do is just click on that link below, book in a time with me. I'll call you at the specific time, and we can just understand where are you now, where you want to get to, and how we can bridge that gap. And if this program is the right fit for you. If it is, fantastic. If it's not, absolutely no problems, and I'll make sure I add some value for you on that call to help you to move forward. Now, secondly, in order to connect with me a little bit more as well, I'd love you to come and join my private Facebook group, the Love, Joy and Passion Facebook group. Just allows you to connect with me and some other beautiful souls and learn some specifics about how you can improve your marriage and just some strategies on helping you to grow you as well. You really enjoy it. Some amazing women in that group who have been able to create some remarkable shifts in their lives. So make sure you click that link below, join the group. I'd love to be there to support you as well. Now, if you've liked this video, make sure you hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to learn the 5 stresses that will destroy any marriage, make sure you click this video above. And if you want to learn 3 tips to prevent arguments with your spouse, click this video above. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you really, really soon. Take care.